Hey everyone, it is Bridget here. Well, actually, it's your favorite Christmas elf here. I love this hat so much. It is so perfect. Isn't it perfect for Christmas? Yes, the ears are totally in the wrong position, but it does have a little bit of a really odd looking little end to it. I just think it's perfect. There you go. I feel like your little woodland elf, you know, who's just merrily skipping along the path, doing elfin things. I could literally be in the Lord of the Rings with this hat, don't you think? I think as well. So thank you for joining me for day number 8. Day number 8 of Bridget's 12 cooking days of Christmas. And day number 8 is a very easy but very wonderful cooking experience, whereas I'm going to teach you guys the complete guide to cooking prawns. Now, if you are not joining us from Australia, please let me know. If you're joining us from anywhere but Australia and New Zealand, let us know. Actually, no, let us know wherever you're from, because I just saw Leslie joining me from Tari. Hi, Leslie. And I also saw the beautiful Anna, my Mexican sister, who's joining us all the way from WA. So thank you for joining us. Arriba, arriba, as she says. Absolutely. It is one of these special moments when I discuss with you. Oh, thank you. Looks very cute, don't you think? Claire, thank you. Thank you very much. I think so as well. I think this is one of my cuter hats that I have. And it's one I should just wear at any time of the year. I should just go shopping in April and just be rocking out my little elf hat. I think that'll be awesome. Absolutely awesome. So if you are joining us, wherever you are in the world, let us know, please. Let us know where you're coming from, because we always like to, and in Māori we call this tautoko, which means to not just to respect where you're from, but also to encourage and to support where you're from. So I tautoko you from wherever you're coming from around the world, joining us tonight for our complete guide to cooking prawns. And why prawns? And as I was saying, if you're from anywhere but Australia and New Zealand, you got Australians and Kiwis know that we have prawns at Christmas time, because there's a couple of reasons why we have prawns at Christmas time. Number one is they're amazing. Like, let's be honest, prawns are really delicious. They are incredibly good for us. They are really high in protein. So, you know, we always think about meat being really high in protein, like really high in iron and protein. Prawns are amazingly high in protein. For all you bodybuilders out there, you know, if you're getting the big muscles going, go with the prawns. And one of the reasons why prawns are so good for us is, yes, they are high in protein, but they are also incredibly easy for our body to digest. Whereas meat, so I'm talking about beef and lamb and you know, and those sort of types of proteins, they're very difficult for our gut to digest. It requires a lot of work and a lot of energy, whereas prawns are very easy to digest. So it's really simple on our gut health, which is nice, but very high in protein for our bodies. So that's one of the reasons to have prawns on your Christmas table. The other reason is, yes, they are delicious. Let's be honest, prawns are delicious. They're extremely versatile on how you can cook them, even though I'm going to show you the best way to cook them. And I think potentially the third reason that you may not even be aware of why I think Aussies and Kiwis have prawns on the table at this time of year is they are in peak season. So the best season to buy prawns is now, up until about the end of autumn, start of winter. This is peak prawn season. They're going to be at their best. And I reckon I've got some pretty nice prawns for you guys today. So let's have a look. Come down here, have a look at my prawns. I have a big, beautiful bowl of prawns happening here. And yes, they are a gorgeous, gorgeous size prawn. So the prawns that I have in front of me, these are known as king prawns. And king prawns, even though they're a fantastic size, the king name does actually not indicate the size. It's a type of species that you get. So commonly found within the waters of Australia, and these are from Queensland. You get king prawns, you also get tiger prawns, and you can tell what is a tiger prawn because they literally have tiger stripes across them. So you know it's a tiger prawn. You can also get banana prawns, and you can get school prawns. Now, king prawns here, they tend to be the largest size prawns that you can get on the market. And my ones I bought today, look at them, they are fresh, they've never been frozen, they are absolutely gorgeous, they smell stunning. And this is what is known as a raw or green prawn. So I would suggest, where you can, no, actually just do it, guys, buy your prawns raw or green. I know they're not colored green, that's just kind of the name that they call them, but it's fresh. Under here I have raw prawn meat, raw meat under there. So buy your prawns raw, or they're also known as being green, and you are going to get a superior flavor. So the thing about the king prawn is it's the largest prawn. It tends to be the largest prawn you can buy. They're bigger than the tiger, they're bigger than the school, and they're bigger than the banana. So they're a decent sized prawn. So as I was saying, the king doesn't indicate its size, even though this is larger. The size is normally indicated by, if you do buy them, they'll say that they're a U16 or they're a U20, or you may have even seen the frozen ones as being called a U30 or a U40. What that basically indicates is how many prawns you can get in a kilo. So if this size here is about a U16 to 20, I'm going to get on average 16 to 20 sized prawns per kilo. So as they get smaller, you get more prawns per kilo. For example, you might be buying U30s. That means you get 30 on average prawns per kilo. So these ones here, decent size. As I was saying, as you can see, they're really good size. These are about a U16. So in my bowl, I have about a kilo of prawns, and I reckon I have 16 to 20 prawns in there. So that's one of the indicators, is always buy green or raw prawns. I never, ever buy cooked prawns, ever. Let me just state that categorically. Come up here. I want to be so firm with you guys. I never buy cooked prawns, ever. I only ever buy raw or green prawns. And I know you can buy the cooked prawns and you're like, oh, it saves me so much time. But guess what? It does not save you on the flavor. You do not know how those prawns were cooked. You do not know how long they were cooked for. But if you are in control of the cooking process, you are getting these prawns at their peak, at their prime. And if you're paying $30 a kilo, let's be serious. Take control of the prawn cooking. Do not buy cooked prawns. Buy your prawns raw or green. You know they are raw because they're kind of translucent. You can see it under there, it's translucent. And you know what a cooked prawn looks like? It goes really, really orange. So this is a raw prawn. So please, if you do one thing this Christmas, is buy raw or green prawns. It's not hard to cook. I want to show you guys how. So back down to these guys. So I'm looking at a size. They're around about, as I was saying, about a U16. So there's 16 to 20 prawns per kilo. The other indication you want to look at when you're looking at your prawns is how fresh are they, because that's totally something that we need to think about. So when it comes to my prawns here, come this way. When it comes to my prawns here, the best way to tell, to give you an indication of how fresh they are, is always look here, just underneath the legs, underneath the tail. So if under the head, sorry. So if we look at the head this side on, you've obviously got the eyes there. This is the big spiky bit, which is a little bit inedible. We have the tail here with the beautiful tail meat. But under here, if we just turn it upside down, always check this. You want to make sure that that part there is lovely and pink. Lovely and pink. You don't want to have any dark spots, because that's going to tell you instantly that your prawns are a little bit old. And I actually got them to pick me a prawn that was a little bit old so I could show you the difference between these two. Right. Here we go. So that's your fresh prawn there, and that one there, as you can see, you see it's got that little bit of darkness going in there? Look at even in the head. That's how you can tell whether your prawn's not as fresh. So ideally, when you go to the fish market and you are looking at prawns, you want to avoid ones that have that dark bit in there, and you want to go for ones that are like that. Do you see the difference? Fresher, not so fresh. Still delicious and edible, but that's going to last even a couple of days in your fridge if you don't cook them straight away. So if you can, choose your own prawns, or when they are choosing prawns for you, especially if you're spending $30 a kilo and you're only getting 16, you say, don't want that one, give me that one instead. Give me the fresh bugger. So there's the fresh bugger right there. And you can, like I said, you can tell. Look under there. It's got a lovely light, almost apricot color, peach color. Whereas that one there, you can see the darkness beginning to appear. The darkness is beginning to appear. Like I said, you can still eat that, but if you're not cooking your prawns for a few days, this is going to last longer than this. This is probably needs to be cooked within 24 hours, otherwise it's going to go bad. So that's how you tell whether your prawns are fresh. So next thing is, do you peel or do you not? When you buy cooked prawns, please don't buy cooked prawns. Let me just say that again, don't buy cooked prawns. But if you've bought cooked prawns in the past, you know that's your job once you get to the tables to peel off the shell there, and in order to be able to eat them. So with my recipe, we're going to be roasting the prawns. I never ever boil prawns, ever. Because when you boil a prawn, what you're doing when you throw this gorgeous little delicate bit of wonderfulness, if you throw that into a big pot of boiling water, you are boiling out all the flavor. All the goodness is getting lost in that water. I never boil my prawns, ever, guys. So number 1 is don't buy cooked prawns. Number 2 is never boil your prawns. Forget about it. I'm going to teach you guys the best way. We're going to roast our prawns today. So it's up to you guys how much work you want to put into this. If you want to be really good to your guests, you could actually peel the shells before they go into the roasting dish. That's completely up to you. I'm going to show you how easy it is to peel a prawn. And this is, even if it's raw or cooked, this is the best way to peel a prawn. So starting with our fresh prawn, you hold the head in one hand and then you just begin to peel away the tail. I'm not peeling off section by section. I'm actually going right down the edge of the prawn like that. And then what I get is literally almost the whole shell coming off in one go. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Especially, like I said, especially if you really love your guests and you want to give them a great experience, you can pre-peel the prawns. The other thing you can do once you've pre-peeled the prawns, taking a really small knife, just go along the base of the tail just like that. And what we're doing here is we are just exposing and then extracting the digestive tract, which is the poo tract, which some people don't want to have in their prawn. You could also do that if you really wanted to with your prawns. Nothing stopping you from doing that. Exposing that, it doesn't take long to do, as you saw. It's pretty quick, but that's up to you. That is up to you. Now, I used to work for a something probably not many of you know actually. I used to oh, we've lost the sound. Mahay's coming to put the sound back in. He's such a good man. Thank you. Could you put the sound back in? You can probably still hear me, but this might be even better. Yep, and just turn it and put it on. Yep, yeah. Is that better, guys? You can still hear me? Good. So some sound now. I just need to ask you got sound now. Sound now. Just waiting.
Let's just be patient.
Give me a second. We're just waiting to hear if we have sound. Not sure. No sound. I see a sad face. No sound. No sound.
I'm just refreshing.
No. No sound. Is there sound? Is there no sound? Guess what? We're gonna cancel this and come back. We're cancelling it and we're coming back. No, I've got thumbs up. We've got sound. You guys can hear me? You guys can hear me? Yes, you can hear me? I'm just looking at, yes, I've got yes, 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 yes. We have sound. We nearly cancelled the broadcast. Adjust my elf head again as we go back into the spiel. Sound on now. Good, so you can hear me. Oh, hi, Dolly. Love you. Yes, got sound. Thank you, Selena. No sound for you, Alita. Oh, not. We're back. We're good. We're good. Anna's good. Okay, we're back with sound. Fantastic. There was a delay. There was a delay as we lost sound. We now have sound, which is wonderful. So I was talking about how if you can't buy fresh prawns that look like this, you can still buy frozen prawns, big ones like this, defrost them very slowly overnight in the fridge. Frozen prawns are not a problem, as long as you defrost them slowly. Do not defrost them. Please do not, oh, I'm getting so many yeses now. Yes, fantastic. Please do not defrost them in the microwave, because microwaves are very uneven heat sources, And if you defrost them in the microwave, you might get half of your prawn cooking and half of it still frozen. So the best way, if you need to buy your prawns frozen, because some of us do, it's a little bit harder to get them fresh. If you need to buy your prawns frozen, it's not a problem at all. But you need to just be a little bit aware of how you defrost them. And the best way to defrost your prawns is to have them in the fridge overnight. So take them out of the freezer, lay them out as flat as you can get them, and then put them into the bottom of your fridge, which is the coolest part of your fridge. Put them into the bottom of your fridge as close as you can get to the bottom, and leave them in your fridge overnight to defrost. They will defrost naturally. They'll defrost very, very gently as well. Microwaves, forget about it. You want to defrost them slowly, because remember that this flesh, and this is your raw prawn, your green prawn. I know it's not green, because that's green. That's not green. Your raw prawn is very delicate, so we want to treat it with great care, loving care when it comes to our defrosting of our prawn. So you can either buy them fresh, like I have. Gorgeous! You can buy them frozen. Not a problem at all. The only thing I don't want you to do is to buy them cooked, because remember, you can cook them yourself and it's not difficult. So when it comes back down to our preparation of our prawns, let's go back down here. Remember, you can peel them and then you can just slice them down the end, and you can extract that little digestive tract. I'll do it one more time so you guys can see just how easy it is to do, especially if your prawns are big. It's not going to take you long, and you know, you could phone a friend at this point in time as well. Phone a friend, get someone to help you to peel the prawns, and you can just go down, leave the head on, because some people like to suck all the juices out of the head, as we know. Leave the head on, but just go down the tail, extract all the shell, throw the shell away, and then just using that really small little knife, you just make an incision. I'm probably only cutting a couple of millimeter deep down here, millimeter, not centimeter, so really small. And then using the tip of my knife, I'm able to go in and just pull, and then that digestive tract comes out just like that, and then that gets thrown away. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Your guests will love you for it, because they can just basically go for it. But there's also nothing stopping you from cooking them shell and all as well. And I'll show you why you can get away with that and how you can get away with that. Look, that's how it swims through the water. All right, so I have my oven on, because we are roasting these. You can also throw these on the barbie, which is really cool as well. You can throw these on the barbie, but we're going to be roasting our prawns, and you can roast these, you know, a couple of hours in advance. You can even roast these the night before, and then just leave them out at room temperature for about an hour to get the fridge chill off them the next day before you serve them. So they don't have to be done immediately before you eat. They actually have a bit of a time lapse that you can go through. Oh, and by the way, today's apron, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. This is actually made by a friend of mine for book number 1 for the Yellow Book. It's very cool, isn't it? So I've got my oven on at 200 degrees. I'm going to head over there now, because I've actually had my roasting tray in the oven heating up, which is a nice idea, because I don't want to put these into a cold roasting tray. And if you want the exact method or recipe for this, you can go to bridgetshealthychristmas.com. I have the recipe as part of the ebook that I put out a couple of weeks ago. So I've got my really, really hot roasting tray here, which is important. We're going to start to add a bit of flavor to that roasting tray now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally lay those prawns in. And I want to make sure that the prawns are in a single layer, which is really important. I don't want to have like 2 or 3 prawns deep. They will not cook evenly. So you can see there, I've got my prawn. This is the perfect tray for 1 kilo of really large prawns. It fits it in perfectly, and I've got them all in a single layer, so they're going to cook really, really evenly. Now let's add a bit of flavor to this. Already I'm smelling them sizzling on that hot pan, which is perfect. Let's add some flavor. So one of the flavors I'm going to add is a little bit of salt, and I'm adding it direct. I mean, you don't get this when you cook prawns in just a big pot of water. You don't get this. You don't get the ability to add salt, right? You also don't get the ability to grind over some fresh black pepper as well, which I couldn't even imagine prawns without fresh black pepper. And the other thing I couldn't imagine prawns without, like seriously, is garlic. So I've got just some raw cloves of garlic here. This was a whole bulb. So it started off life looking like that, and I peeled it, and now it looked like that. Garlic is so important. You know how much flavor we get from garlic, and all we need to do is just roughly chop and add our garlic into our roasting tray. Like, this for me was a revelation. The first time I realized just how good prawns are when they're not had the living daylights boiled out of them. When we're actually able to impart all these amazing flavors, especially from garlic. You guys know prawns and garlic, it's a marriage made in heaven. So we've got the garlic in there. So the other thing you could think about doing is you could add some coconut oil onto this, some avocado oil. Up to you. I'm going to sprinkle over just a little bit. Just a little bit of coconut oil, not too much, just a little bit. But you don't have to add coconut oil. And I'll show you why you don't have to add coconut oil. I'm just like literally doing a tablespoon. You can hear the sizzle, the smell's really good. The reason I'm not adding olive oil, by the way. Now here's another little important point for you guys. Why not take the head off, Leslie? Because you can eat the heads. Everything that we have in there, you can eat, apart from the little spike on the end of his head. For some people, the best part of the prawn is that part there. That's why we don't take the heads off. The head is flavor. There is so much flavor in there. So give it a go. Like, seriously, give it a go. So when it comes to prawns, and the reason why I don't add olive oil into my tray here is olive oil burns at very low temperatures. It goes rancid. It's not as delicious as when it's come on something that hasn't been cooked or that you just drizzle on. So I haven't added any olive oil, but there's nothing stopping you from adding a little bit of olive oil once it's cooked. 100%, but definitely not to cook with. Hence why I've used coconut oil, because coconut oil has a high temperature setting, so it can handle the temperature I've got in the oven, which is 200 degrees. Olive oil can't handle that. Vampire? Not at all. You wait till you see how I actually physically eat prawns. Eating just the head is nothing. We eat the whole. I'll show you later. I'll show you later. So we've got our coconut oil in there, we've got our garlic in there, we've got our salt, we have got our pepper, and the very last thing I'm going to add onto it is I've got a little bit of kombu water here, not much. I'm going to dribble over probably onto this, about 60 mils of kombu water. That's all, just 60 mils. What I've now developed in here is going to be a little bit of a stock, a little bit of juiciness that the water is going, the prawn juice is going to leak into. I'm just going to finish it off, a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, and then we're going to pop it into that really hot oven to start getting going. So over to here, give me a second while I pop over to the oven and pop. Oh, I'll show you guys what it looks like. Finishing end. Looks like that. Right, time to go in the oven. So here we go, across to the oven. In the oven. So the next big question is, how long do they need to stay in the oven to be perfectly cooked? Well, you can tell very much how a prawn is cooked by the color change that happens within the body. So right now, the prawns that you guys just saw before, they have a very translucent appearance. So the flesh is almost translucent, it's very opaque. And as it cooks, it gets pinker, or some would even refer to that as a really light orange. They get pinker and pinker, or even more orange as they cook. So it's really a visual experience when it comes to looking at your prawns. I suggest you just keep an eye on them. But even if you're putting them in the barbecue, just like that with the garlic, and put a bit of kombu water over it, salt and pepper, and then I would put the lid of the barbecue down. Because what you are now experiencing is you're experiencing those prawns cooking whole, and you're experiencing those prawns cooking in a very complete environment, making them very, very delicious. Now, in my culture, in Māori culture, we eat everything from the ocean. We don't waste anything, and that includes the heads of the prawns. We eat shellfish that you guys would probably freak out about. So for us, eating prawns is not even a big problem, because even the heads of prawns, we eat the heads of lobsters. We eat a type of seafood known as a kina. It's around about, actually I've got one to show you here. Someone gave me this as a mold, because this is what a kina looks like if you imagine it straight from the ocean. This is just a mold of the kina, also known as sea urchin, and It's dark black, almost purple looking when it's in the ocean. It has big long spikes that come off the kinna or the sea urchin, and inside, all that's there is literally what we call the roe of the kinna, which is the eggs, and we eat that, and this is a delicacy. So for us, prawns are not even an issue, heads are not even an issue. We literally do not waste anything from the ocean. In fact, as Māori, we believe that we are caretakers. So when you're a caretaker of the land, caretaker of the sea, you don't waste anything. Whatever you take from it, you need to completely consume as much as possible. And you know, our kinna shells, once we're finished eating our kinna from our shells, eating the eggs out, we'll put the shells sometimes on our driveway, and then that becomes like gravel because we don't have concrete like where I'm from. There's not a lot of concrete, so we actually put the shells onto our driveway. Mussel shells, pippy shells, everything goes onto the driveway, and then that becomes gravel for our cars to drive back and forward. But yes, as Māori people, we believe that whatever you take from the ocean, especially from the ocean, you don't waste. You want to respect that product. So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to how I'm cooking prawns now, I'm respecting those gorgeous sea animals, and we're not just boiling the crap out of them. We're actually taking them and we're respecting them, and we're showing them all the goodness that they deserve, because they have given up their lives for us to eat our beautiful Christmas dinner. So I've got a question from Mahei. Thank you.
Martina has asked, would it be a good idea to cook them in the air fryer?
Would it be a good idea to cook your prawns in the air fryer? Great question, Martina, and yes it would. I would definitely put them into a little tray and then put them into the air fryer, 100%. Obviously with my big tray of prawns, I could have cooked them in the air fryer, but they just take a bit more time because I'll probably have to do maybe 3 or 4 batches because there's so many prawns, hence why I've done them in the oven. But there is nothing stopping you from throwing your prawns into the air fryer, especially if you've got a smaller batch. And what I would do is probably put them on there at 200 degrees in the air fryer, which is 390 degrees Fahrenheit, and they would potentially only need 8 to 10 minutes maximum. Remember, they go from that translucent color to that kind of orange salmon cooked color when they're done. So that's a great question. So yes, back to our beautiful prawns in the oven. I can smell them already, and it's so exciting. But it's really crazy. Like when you start to think of you know, and for us, it's like that way with any animal that we consume. We try and eat nose to tail. We don't want any wastage, and that's why I'm a really big fan of offal. Like I will eat liver, I love kidneys, I love brains. I just want to make sure that we're not wasting any part of the animal, whether it be the skin, you know, the tail. We literally eat it all. You know, the hooves get turned into gelatin. So there's this kind of complete idea about respecting the animal from start to finish. And even though it's a very small animal, a prawn, but why can't we respect that prawn? And if you've ever tried, and this is, I mean, if you're not a huge seafood fan, sucking all the bits out of the head might be a little bit past you, but for people like myself, you're just like, it's not a complete meal unless you're sucking the bits out of the head, because it's just got this wonderful robust seafood flavor. Now if you're really against it, what I would suggest you do, and you still want to respect the animal or the crustacea, what you will do then is that you would take the heads and you would make it into a stock. So you can still get the goodness and you're still respecting it, you're making sure that you're getting a lot of goodness out of there. But rather than sitting there at the table doing what you need to do, you could actually just take the heads off, keep them to the side, and then create a wonderful roasted shrimp or roasted prawn stock from it, which is also very, very popular. So there's multiple ways that we can do this. There's multiple ways that you can respect that animal, but there's also multiple ways that you can actually make sure that it's something that your body will go, yeah, I'm good with that, as opposed to, hey, no, that's not good, you know, because it's, for some of us, we get a little bit queasy, we find it a little bit repulsive, and it's one of the really crazy things I always think about. As when it comes to, we've had this discussion before about eating insects. You know, you've heard of mealworms flour being quite popular, people eating crickets. It's been done for hundreds of years in other parts of the world, but us here in our Western world, we're still not quite used to it. And I always like to bring up the the idea of we eat prawns. And prawns, if you look at a prawn, it's a little bit scary looking. It looks like a bug of the ocean, really. It's a bug of the ocean. So, you know, it's that kind of thinking. We just need to get our heads around these certain foods or these certain ideals of what we grew up as food to be. And it's amazing what we can then introduce into our diet. And also one of the big things is don't make it scary for your kids. If you're freaking out, chances are your kid's gonna freak out, and we pass that down through the generations as opposed to really looking after that product from start to finish. Head to tail, head to tail. I think I've got a question from Mahi.
Look, and Mark James was just saying, I freeze all the bits and turn them into biscuit.
Perfect. You can freeze all the bits. So if you want to peel your prawns before you pop them into the roasting tray, and I know I'm talking a lot, I'm only talking because we got our prawns cooking. It's about 10 minutes I need to talk in order for the prawns to be cooked. So if you wanted to peel your prawns before you roast them, don't throw away all those shells. You could remove the heads if you wanted to, if you didn't want to, if your guest's a little bit squeamish, but don't throw them away. Keep them, freeze them in a bag, and then when you're ready to make a stock, you could even add it straight into your kombu stock and make a real seafoody style stock. That would be amazing as well. So really great idea. Who was that from, Mahi?
And Mark James.
And thank you, Anne. Great point that we can freeze all those little bits and pieces and turn them in the most delicious stock, and no one needs to get squeamish as well. So I'm going to go over to the oven. I want to have a bit of a check to see what's happening over there. I'm just going to have a little, you know, a little look. Oh, smelling good. Looking good, looking fantastic. They've only been there for 5-6 minutes, and already we have an amazing result smell-wise, and I know I'm going to get an amazing result cooked-wise as well. So when it comes to prawns, remember this. You want to go for a prawn that firstly fits your budget, and king prawns tend to be the more expensive one because they are the more highly prized, especially in Australia and New Zealand. They're very highly prized, the king prawn. King prawn, remember, does not indicate the size, it indicates the species. So you get king prawns, you get tiger prawns, which literally are striped like a tiger across its shell at the back. You get school prawns, which tend to be quite small. And school prawns, like they're really tiny, also tend to be sold already pre-cooked. So I would totally avoid that category for Christmas unless you're making like a shrimp fried rice or something like that, because they're really small. And then banana prawns are just below the tiger, and they tend to be kind of your medium to small prawns, and they are they're medium to firm texture, but they're very sweet. Whereas your king prawns are medium to firm texture, but they're very rich. And I think that's why we love king prawns in this part of the world, because it's that richness of flavor. Your tiger prawns are kind of more on a little bit on the milder side when it comes to flavor, but your king prawns, you know you're having a king prawn, you know how fabulous it tastes, you know you're ready for it. It is one of those tastes and delicacies that we really are quite spoiled in this part of the world, aren't we? We're totally spoiled. Right, I'm going to go over there and grab them. I want to show you what happens after just a couple of minutes in there. And no boiling, no stock, no pots. Love it. All right, give me a second. I'm going to go and grab them. Uh-oh, hot pan. There we go. Right. There they are. Close our oven. Right, so after a couple of minutes only, we already have, oh, the smell. We already have this transfer of smell that's coming through. I'm just going to hold this off without getting burnt. And there it is. That wonderful prawn. Do you notice how it's just changed ever so slightly? Oh, it's really hot. Ever so slightly in color. Like, I would ideally leave these in there for another couple of minutes, but I just want to show you guys what the end result is. Now I'll show you also what one looks like that had the shell removed. So if you remove the shell, they only need to be in there for a couple of minutes, because you can already see the color. Can you guys see the color transfer on that? So it's lovely and roasted. That's the one with the shell has been removed. So you're probably 5 to 6 minutes maximum if you have removed the shell. If you haven't removed the shell, I would probably take it another minute or two further than that, and that is your prawns done. So really easy to serve. Even right now they are cooked, fully cooked. You don't want to overcook them, because overcooking them is going to dry out that gorgeous delicate flesh. So it's always wise to undercook them. You can always add more time later on. You can never take time away. So I always say this to people, to undercook. Err on the side of caution when it comes to seafood. fish, you know, prawns, shellfish, any of those things, they are such a delicate flesh, you definitely don't want to do them an injustice by overcooking them. So always err on the side of caution. So I've got a lovely big black bowl here that I'm going to serve them in today. Just need some tongs. Where's my tongs? Tongs? No, the boys have all put my tongs in the dishwasher. There we go. Alright, so we've got a lovely pair of tongs here, and we're just going to put them into our big black bowl. And as I was saying before, I know we've had some opposition to the fact that I'm actually serving prawns with heads, but that's what a prawn looks like. And there's goodness in that head, and even though you may not like it, you might find that you have guests that don't mind. So it always pays to just be mindful that when you're serving this for other people, you know, you just need to remember that other people may like what you're serving, even if you're not that keen. So we're going to put that big pile of prawns in there. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to show you something that may kind of freak you out. But probably not, because this is life. Alright, oh gorgeous, these ones are lovely and coloured. So we've got our prawns in there in this big beautiful pile. We're going to add in all that goodies, all the goodies from the tray, all the liquid and all the garlic, because that's where all the flavour is. Oh, wrong way. Nearly broke my wrist doing that. I'll try go this way actually. Bring it, come all down this way. Sorry for the scratching. Okay, I just wanted you guys to see that I'm pouring all the goodness in here. Can't quite get it out. Oh, there it is. Alright, there we go, garlic. Thank you. That is in there. Do not forget the garlic. It is massively important to this overall dish. So as well as that, I mean, if you were to just serve that like that, that would be the most big, beautiful bowl of goodness. And you're wondering why is she still adding flavors to the shells? It all works in. Trust me on this. So the other thing you can add, take yourself up some lemon, bit of fresh lemon, of course. What is better than having a little bit of fresh lemon served for you and your guests to be able to sprinkle away on top of your prawns. Give it a bit of a sprinkle. So a lemon always helps, or a lime, whatever you've got, but lemon is definitely, I suppose, the universal sign of helping to give a little bit of citrus to a prawn, most definitely. So that goes in there. The other thing you could think about doing, if you wanted to, completely up to you, is taking some bit of greenery, because we like a little bit of greenery as well. I'm throwing a little bit of greenery on there. I've got some coriander. Would you believe, I still have some herbs that were given to me going on nearly 4 weeks ago from someone's garden just out of Taree, the beautiful, beautiful Jan. I still have her Vietnamese mint, or Vietnamese coriander as it's also known, which is a lovely pungent flavour. That can go in there as well. And the last thing you want to do if you're serving your prawns like this for your guests to start to break the shells off themselves is make sure you have a bowl to clean fingers and just put a bit of lemon in that as well, just to make sure people know that it's not soup. Because trust me, I've seen it happen before where people have gone, oh yum, soup. Trust me, make sure they know that's a finger cleaning bowl. It's not soup, it's just water and a little bit of lemon, because you want to clean your fingers afterwards. Now the reason why, this is serious, come back up here, our hat on, we're getting very serious. The reason why I like to serve my prawns with the shell on is, believe it or not, I can't do this right now because they're very hot, is, believe it or not, I eat it shell and all. I don't even bother to peel the shell off. I know, right? The only part I don't eat of the prawn is that little tail end. I eat the entire bits. Everything gets eaten. I don't know if that's just kind of the Kiwi in me, or possibly the Māori in me, that we don't want to waste, but I will eat the whole thing. In fact, I eat the head as well, and I just don't eat that spiky bit. So all that's left for me, if you want to talk about roughage, give me a bowl of prawns and watch me go for it. I don't eat the tail, and I don't eat that spiky bit at the top. Oh, and those little parts there, because they're kind of boring. They've got no flavour. Everything else gets munched away with a little bit of lemon squeezed over the top, a little bit more salt and pepper if I need it. Sometimes I might even have a really healthy seafood sauce just to delicately dip my little prawns in. But that's why I find that cooking these prawns are the best way to cook it, because all the flavors are kept here. You lose nothing. So please, please, serious elf hack time. Do not buy cooked prawns and do not boil your prawns. Next time what you want to do is you want to roast your prawns, and Fed's saying, let me see you eat it. I would if it wasn't so hot. Okay, let's go. Let's give it a go. Shell and all. Oh my God. Do you want one, Mahi? Amazing. But that's the only part that's left. Hang on, a little bit more. That's it. Just like that. It is amazing. It's got crunchy, there's texture, and all the flavour that was on top of the prawn is now in my mouth. So all that garlic, and a little bit of salt and pepper, it's all in my mouth now. It's just absolutely stunning. Please feel free to help yourself, Mahi, if you want to. Look, finger bowl, just clean my hands. You don't have to finger bowl, you go straight in there. Not that way. Mahi went head first, spiky bit. You don't want to eat the spiky bit. But look, that's how I eat prawns. Oh my God. Seriously? That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. What I like about it the most, literally, the flavour. And the flavour is now all over my fingers. That's all Mahi has left. It's still a little bit. Oh yeah. He wasted a little bit at the end. I know that's extreme, but it's possible. It's delicious. And you don't waste anything. Yeah. I love the crunch, but there's nothing stopping you as well from just taking it. Look, this is just flesh only. Nothing stopping you from doing that too. Oh. I can see why this is a delicacy. Oh, it's just amazing. Crunchy. So, finger bowl. Finger bowl. So there you have it. Mouthful of prawns. Belly about to be full of prawns because we need to eat these now. But my biggest tip for you guys is, remember, do not buy cooked prawns. Cook them yourself. They take minutes, literally. Do not even think about boiling them because you're wasting all those gorgeous flavors. Throw them into a roasting tray, add all those wonderful flavors to them. If you're not big on the tails, like on the skin there, just peel them off. Cook them for about 5 minutes, that's all they're going to need. But still add all those gorgeous flavors to them when you're cooking them, with garlic and the ginger, or if you want to, or salt and pepper. You could finish them with a really big swig of olive oil if you wanted to as well.
It's so yum.
And they are so delicious. They're so wonderful, and they're fun, and you don't have to waste your time peeling them, which is even better. I love sitting in front of a big bowl of prawns with people, and they're all like peeling away. I'm like, rah, rah, rah. I get twice as much. You know, I'm in it for the effectiveness. I'm eating twice as many prawns. So give it a go. I'll get one more question. Mahi's laughing as he's telling me this question.
Just Martina said, show us, and then he did it, and she goes, no way.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've been doing it for years, literally. And what I normally have as well, next to this, because what you also get is in this bowl, at the bottom of this bowl, which you can't see, there's going to be all this gorgeous juice. You do not waste that juice. You need to sop that juice up. So I use a little bit of my gluten-free bread, sop all that gorgeous juice up. Eat that bread as well. That's all you need for Christmas, just a big bowl of prawns. But the reason why I'm talking about bread, because guess what I'm sharing with you guys tomorrow? I've got a new bread recipe for you guys. I tested it out earlier this week. It is my crusty French style bread. It's so easy to make, and it's gluten-free, and it's dairy-free, and it's sugar-free, and all these wonderful things. I'm sharing with you guys tomorrow on Bridget's Kitchen. Make sure you grab that recipe because it is perfect for this. It's just perfect for perfect because it's delicious. And also tomorrow, which is Saturday here in Australia, we are doing, for the 9th cooking day of Christmas, we're doing chocolate chestnut pots. So we're taking it a bit more relaxed tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit of dessert. And what says Christmas better than chocolate and chestnuts? I'm going to teach you guys how to make chocolate and chestnut. It's like a chocolate set mousse. It is mind-blowing. One more question from Mahi. Yes?
Martina, so I'm going to visit my friends in Israel and will not have kombu. Is
Yes.
water alone okay?
Is what if you don't have access to kombu for your prawns, I would just suggest, Martina, that you just leave it out and instead add a little bit more coconut oil or avocado oil. Just because you won't have your kombu, just leave it out for that time, and then when you're back home, kombu it, because then you get the most gorgeous liquid in here as well. So bon appetit to me and Mahei. We're going to go eat our prawns. You hear us crunching from wherever you are. We'll be crunching away, but I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow at, I think we're doing a lunchtime one tomorrow, 12 o'clock tomorrow. Come and join us for chocolate chestnut pots, which is like Christmas and a dessert, and this is Christmas in a bowl. All right, guys. Mwah! Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.